Welcome to our series, The Parables of Jesus, a 31-day study in the parables of the New Testament teachings of Jesus. We'll be reading from Matthew chapter 13, beginning in verse 10 through 17. Then the disciples came and said to him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" And he answered them, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. Indeed, in their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled that says, 'You will indeed hear, but never understand, and you will indeed see, but never perceive. For this people's heart has grown dull, and with their ears they can barely hear, and their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For truly I say to you, many prophets and righteous people longed to see what you see, and did not see it, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear it." Are you a right brain or left brain person? Do you learn better by auditory, visual, or kinesthetic means? Do you learn more efficiently through construction, cognition, or community? As a leader, is your style more of a coach, visionary, servant, autocrat, or hands-off? On and on it goes. We have gotten rather streamlined in our approach and direction of learning and carrying out tasks here in the 21st century. But imagine that you are the creator of the universe, and you have been given the task of instilling the mind of God and His will into the hopelessly small human brain. How would you go about carrying out this mountainous task? I know how I would do it. I'd put together a rocking PowerPoint presentation with videos and hire the best musicians to create a soundtrack. Just one problem. No electricity, no computers, no recording capabilities. You don't even have a copier to reproduce the lessons. I rather like the motto of the Healing Hands International Organization, use what you have. Okay, what do you have? What did Jesus have? Well, for starters, he had the world around him to draw from, and he knew exactly what he wanted to convey. For the auditory learners, those who learn by listening, he taught with words. For the visual learners, those who learn by seeing, he told parables using the landscape, customs, and the world of the Jewish culture around him. For the kinesthetic or the hands-on learners, he took them under his wing, so to speak, and sent them out on short mission trips to learn by doing. Jesus truly was the master teacher. On our journey in the next 30 days, we'll be looking at a particular method the master used to convey and conceal his message of the kingdom. Jesus was forthcoming in his reasoning for using this method. In verse 13, he tells us, "This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand." But one might ask the same about the disciples, for they questioned Jesus about the learning. In Mark 4:10 we read, "And when he was alone, those around him with the 12 asked him about the parables." Mark further gives us a bit of insight into the process when he writes about the parable of the sower in Mark 4:13. "And he said to them, 'Do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all parables?'" He adds later in the discourse in verses 33 and 34 of Mark 4, "With many such parables he spoke the word to them, as they were able to hear it. He did not speak to them without a parable, but privately to his own disciples he explained everything." The parable was the perfect vehicle to deliver messages about the kingdom, about prayer, about humility, about pride, about resurrection, about God. We're told this was to fulfill prophecy. Mark Matthew 13:34 and 35. All these things Jesus said to the crowd in parables. Indeed, he said nothing to them without parables. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter what has been hidden since the foundation of the world. This was from Psalm 78:2. Thayer defines the Greek word parabole as a placing of one thing by the side of another, a juxtaposition as of ships in battle, a comparison of one thing with another, a likeness, a similitude, an earthly story with a heavenly meaning, a pithy and instructive saying. As we go through the next 30 days with 30 parables, we will be faced with the same challenges the disciples of the first century had. Understanding these seemingly simple, little descriptive stories that are layered in complexity to learn the secrets hidden since the foundation of the world about what God desires of us. We have the advantage of the New Testament in being able to read. We don't have what the disciples had. A field being sown with seed while the master tells the story of the sower, or a wedding feast passing by as Jesus tells about keeping our lamps trimmed and burning. Maybe watching a woman knead the dough as the Son of God describes how leaven is spread. Yet, in all of this, whether there in Galilee or Jerusalem, or somewhere in between, or here in the 21st century, there is one constant. Those who desire to learn shall be filled, and those who take no interest shall find themselves far from the kingdom's door. How about you? Do you have the desire to see and hear? And Lord willing, join us again tomorrow as we begin to look at the parables of Jesus.